a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion with regards to your participation in the show. We encourage you to call in on the numbers listed 1-869-469-1616. You have a pencil, piece of paper, write it down if you have a question or a comment so that you're well organized. And when you're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem that's not within our broadcast standards. But we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Talk That Get Results. Also, you can follow our live video stream on our Facebook channel at Vaughn Radio and our YouTube channel at Vaughn Radio. And we will be back right after these.
A 5-acre lot of land with 219 feet of oceanfront is up for sale. It is located just east of the Medical University at Pasturgate, Brick Hill. Call Mr. Edric Stanley for serious inquiries or for more information at 665-5634 or 469-3868.
Builders Paradise is offering a large variety of floor and wall tiles at very competitive prices. Builders Paradise has over 2 million pieces in stock, lots of different styles to choose from. Whether you're renovating or tiling a new house, Builders Paradise has what you need. Wow! Oh, and remember, we're open all day Saturday to serve you better. This is something that you can't refuse. Visit Builders Paradise today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Site in St. Kitts or call them at 466-4938.
Always satisfying.
Vaughn Radio,
The powerhouse.
Back on this episode of Talk That Get Results. Thank you again for joining us. Tonight, we'll be talking about mostly cricket. And we have with us one of the early captains of the Nevis cricket team. We have, through the years, spoke a lot about him. And we are so elated that we have him in our presence this evening to speak about Nevis cricket in those early years in the Leeward Islands tournament and all that. And so, if you know anybody who you think, for whatever reason, may not be with us tonight, notwithstanding they'll be able to go and review it a little later on YouTube, give them a hollow. Let them know that Ed Arton of Nevis cricket fame, one of our stalwarts in not only Nevis cricket, but as far as a Nevisian example is concerned. Sometimes we often use the phrase a true Nevisian story, and Ed Arton is a true Nevisian story. Not just cricket, but beyond the boundaries. And we're going to find out the content of the grit and the determination of how Nevis not only got to play Leeward Islands cricket on its own, but how we got to put in the first Leeward Islander on the West Indies cricket team. And when I was doing my preview for this, and I'm sure a lot of people will have some fond memories once their memories are jogged, because once my memory was jogged today, I found out and remembered of the days when cricket was so important to the nation, and when these fellas they played the game real rough. And when I was reminded of an incident in Antigua. My memory was jogged, and I'm sure that Ed Arton remembers that. That's enough for me. Ed Arton, good evening.
Good evening.
And it's so good to have you here. In my early days, going to Grove Park and watching cricket, and an admirer of you, watching you come in with those long legs, forward, defensive, etc. Watching you swing that ball to and fro with that lively medium pace that you had, and all the other things that you did in terms of your strategies and your technique in captaincy. So it's good to have you. Welcome to Vaughan Radio, and welcome to the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse. Okay, Ed, I'm going to give you the opportunity to say good evening, and you can go right ahead and also just make any opening comment that you would like in reference to Nevis cricket or whatever, and then we'll have a discussion. It's not I don't call it an interview like what we normally do. We're gonna have a chit chat. Okay, Ed?
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so let's do that. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Ed Arton of Nevis. I started playing cricket at the age of 16, representing Nevis. I think my first match was played in Nevis against Montserrat. And let's see, in those days we had the umpires come from each island to play umpires. So my first match I didn't do very well, and later on in my career they decided, we had a baseball by the name of Drew, and they decided he's throwing. So I said, well, okay, I'm tall enough, I think I could bowl, and I started bowling. And after that I just come like a real expert in it, because I was able to side up the batsman and decided how I could get him out. And therefore, from there on, I was able to bowl this by moving the ball in the air and out of the wicket, and I could look at the batsman and see how he played, and determine how I could get him out. And that was my strategy. And see the way how you shape up in the wicket, and I started attacking him on the opposite side. So you're strong on the outside, normally park the outside, put up on the opposite side of the wicket. And then I'm thinking ahead of the ball and batsman now, so I slow it up and straight a little further up to his thumb, but a little wider, and when he flashed at the ball, getting caught in behind.
And that's what that tells me is that in those days you didn't have coaches.
No, I coached myself.
You didn't have nets.
No.
The wickets were not as placid as you would like them.
No.
But you made do.
Yes.
You use what you had, in other words.
Of course, I had to outthink the batsman. That's what I normally do.
Which suggests that I would argue, when I'm debating cricket, that it is more than just the technical skill in terms of stroke making and bowling, but it also has a lot to do with the mental aspect of it.
Yes.
We normally say in colloquial terms, cricket is a head game.
Yes, it is too. It is. Cricket is really a head game, because you could see a guy come in. Okay, for instance, my first experience playing against international players was playing against Guyana. Kalitron was a little short guy, and he had a long handle bat. So I decided, well, he liked to drive right away. So I pack up my outside field, I bowl him on the leg stump, on the leg stump, on the leg stump, and then right after lunch I hit my short one, I hook it, and I got rid of him. No, I determine, when I play cricket, I determine how you play. I don't let the batsman determine how I bowl. I determine how the batsman play. You know?
Yes.
I am the one determining how you play. For instance, the wicket is very good and solid, as we call it, good batting wicket. I concentrate on more line and length. Line and length. And if you're strong on the outside, I'll bowl the opposite side of the wicket. But I'm trying to get you now so I can bowl you went 1, 2, 3 over the leg side, and the first one out of break, okay, and attack on the outside, and your eyes open up because it does a strong point. So when you start playing all the shots, you get the wicket.
One of the things, Ed, one of the things that we normally discuss is the fact that Nevis was able to play Leeward Islands cricket on its own. It was not always that way. Can you speak to those early days?
Well, that was, I think, 1949 was the first time we started playing on our own. I think 1949.
Right, but before that, we used to play with
St. Kitts.
St. Kitts. Okay. Now, as you can recall, was it easy playing on our own? As because there must have been the argument that maybe we don't have enough players, maybe we're not strong enough, and so on. But there must have been a debate as to whether we should be able to go on our own and play on our own.
No, Nevis always had talent. We always had a lot of talent. But the difference is in those days, the umpiring was very bad. When you got to play in Montserrat, you have Montserrat umpires, you play against Montserrat. They didn't care if the ball hit you. While you playing against Montserrat, you're playing LBW. Not like nowadays you have trained umpires.
Yes.
Nowadays you have trained umpires and different rules, but in those days, for instance, when the game broke up with Antigua, Antigua made a big score, and in the second inning they gave us a big score to bat, took chase. Howell and Savin batting beautifully, right? And just before lunch, the umpire decided to say, the guy was not out, so I tell him, don't walk. Because the match before that we had Richard LBW, but they didn't send him right now. So I tell him, don't walk. That's what the umpire was in those days. They played in Antigua umpire, they play some out the street with the umpire, and they decided the situation.
Now, let's get it straight. You were the captain of the team.
Yes, sir.
The umpire sent Howell leg before.
Just before lunch.
Okay,
yes,
and work with me. And the umpire was not you.
No.
Okay, you were the captain.
I was the captain. Yes.
And you told your batsman
not to walk.
Not walk.
Yes.
Don't walk.
No.
Because in your opinion, he was not out.
He was not out.
Okay, so as far as I know, the umpire's decision is final. So what happened after that?
The game broke up. The crowd started coming to the pavilion and everything. The game broke up.
What can you remember how you felt, what it was like? Because this thing must have meant not just a lot to you and your players, but to the island, and you must have felt so aggrieved by suggesting to your player not to walk when you know that was not how the rule works, right?
No, in those days, you're not thinking about rules, you're thinking about the situation. You're not talking about rules, you're thinking about the situation at the time. If you could send, Richard end up to being a great batsman, but Richard, right? He had him out, then he went on to make a couple of runs. Well, Howell had about 90-something out for one or something and going beautifully. Why said him on that? Because he's playing in Antigua? No, he couldn't go like that. He's not out. That's the reason.
And what happened after that in terms of course, there must have been some disciplinary action?
Yeah, they suspended Sergeant and they suspended Howell, and they suspended the guy Richards for a year, and they suspended Sergeant for 2 years, although the problem was caused by Antigua.
and that's interesting because that tells you and shows you in those days. I don't know if I want to in this instance use the word bad men, because some of the instances we have in our contemporary times, and I will tell people in our days we used to have bad men, fellas, but not the kind of extent that we goes to not now, but here it is that we hear a lot about Livingston Sargent and so on and so forth. But here's an incident that I'm sure that a lot of people never heard about. Okay, so what are some of the other names you can remember that were playing in your era?
Some guy is called Kid Paris, Sonny Paris, jeweler by the police station on there, Eugene Lightbud, Claxton from pharmacist from the hospital.
Ashton
Ashen. I think it was Stapleton, Yusuf Walvin, this was Amory.
Harold Walters played in your time?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Was Amory.
Van Amory, yes.
And I think who was the keeper? I think the keeper was No, you Prentice from just about the park. Prentice. Keeper.
Right. And there was a fellow by the name of Eversley Barrett. He was from Cotton Ground.
He wasn't on the team then.
He wasn't on the team then, but did you know of him? He was a left-handed batsman.
Yes, he had a lot of talent. Yes, he played a good series, one series, and then moved to New York. Yes.
Okay. So how about El Comeda Willett? He came into the Nevis team when you were captain?
Yes, I was captain, and from the first time I saw him, I was impressed with him. And we had two spinners, one guy named Lecky from
Brownhill.
Lecky from Brownhill, yes. And there was a toss-up between Lecky and Willett. Both of us were impressed with Willett, so I picked Willett. Up to today, I'm talking about Lecky and Willett, but you can't say I was wrong because he made West Indies side.
The competition those days between Antigua and St. Kitts and so on, why is it that you think that we were able to, there's always been a tough rivalry, but in the end, as the evidence would show in terms of selections on the West Indies team and so on, Nevis seemed to have, as you had indicated, presented better talent than St. Kitts. You remember Len Harris and those fellows from St. Kitts? Had some real tough battles with them.
Of course, I remember Len Harris and Cohen and guys, yes. And also Gilbert was a good left-arm spinner. I figured Gilbert could have made a West Indies side because he could have bowled and could have bat. But in those days, they don't used to look at the Spawn Island people.
And you following cricket always knew that the talent that we had in the smaller islands was comparable to the bigger islands that used to represent the West Indies mostly at that time?
Yes.
Let's talk about the psyche and the mindset of Nevisians to be able to play cricket, which I think we all agree is what we call locally a head game. You got to be strategic. You got to play and outthink your opponent. You think that we possess that skill and ability beyond the game of cricket?
Yes, sure.
So what would you say to the current persons in Nevisians in terms of achieving and advancing not only in cricket but in other spheres and aspects of life? Perchance they feel because of the small size, etc., that they can't do it.
Just believe in yourself, and that's all it needs, self-determination. Have confidence in yourself.
I'm going to add Mr. Fifield and Mr. Stanley in just a minute, but I just would like to ask you to your viewpoint, because we have a lot of discussions, and when we're not doing so well in cricket these days, people provide a lot of varied reasons why not. And some of the things, and I can recall as recent as a couple of weeks ago, we had a discussion here, and one of our panelists was alluding to the fact that we need proper facilities, training facilities, coaches, etc., 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 providing that for one of the reasons why we're quote-unquote failing.
No, I don't think so.
Right, so I'd like you to just respond to that, and then you don't agree with that?
I don't think so, because in my day, I hadn't had any coach. I had to do it on my own. So all you have to do is you believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, and go out there and produce. And when you go on the field, you tell yourself you're going to win. You're a winner. You don't go out there and feel like you're going to lose before you go on the field. When I have the ball, I figure I could bowl the team out. That's the difference. When I have the ball, I believe I could take all the wickets there. If I have to take 9, I believe I could take 9. I'm being honest with you.
Okay, we're going to get a break, and when we come back, we will add Edric W. Stanley and Roger Fifield. A little later on also, we can take your phone calls on 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. We'll be back after these.
5-acre lot of land with 219 feet of oceanfront is up for sale. It is located just east of the Medical University at Pasturgate, Brickhill. Call Mr. Edric Stanley for serious inquiries or for more information at 665-5634 or 469-3868.
Builder's Paradise is offering a large variety of floor and wall tiles at very competitive prices. Builder's Paradise has over 2 million pieces in stock, lots of different styles to choose from. Whether you're renovating or tiling a new house, Builder's Paradise has what you need. Wow! Oh, and remember, we're open all day Saturday to serve you better. This is something that you can't refuse. Visit Builder's Paradise today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Site in St. Kitts or call them at 466-4938.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
Back on this episode of Thought That Get Results with Ed Arton, and now adding Roger Fifield. Roger, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to the listening and viewing audience. Webbo, I think tonight is a very special night. I am honored to meet for the very first time Ed Arton. I have heard so much about you, sir, and I almost feel, overwhelmed, overjoyed to be sitting next to you. Just listening to you, I think that the leadership that you showed, was really one that every time you hit the field, you think of winning and you think that you can win. I believe that even now, youngsters can learn a lot from you in terms of the game, the way you think, the way you approach the game, the way you outfox batsmen. I think that it's really a pleasure and being here in your company, sir, and no doubt I would learn much tonight.
Thank you very much.
Ed, before I introduce the next person or ask the next person to add, let me to make the opening comment. Let me ask you this, because you've been around cricket for a while, you know cricket, you understand the game and all that. Have you ever known anyone who does wicket keeping, who opens the bowling and opens the batting all at the same time in the same innings. You want me to go over it again? Open the bowling, open the batting, and is the wicket keeper all at the same time in the same innings.
No, that's what I remember.
You never, okay, so in other words, as much as you think you know about cricket, you never experienced that.
No.
Okay, so here is that person, Edric W. Stanley. Good evening.
Well, good evening. And it is always good for a light moment. And of course, it is important for us to go along the road of truth and explain as to how you arrived at such a conclusion.
Walk with me. And the way I arrive at my conclusion is to let you know that one of the things that I inherited from my late mom, bless her soul, is a remarkable memory.
Quite so.
And that's how I was able to regurgitate that information. And as you will know me better than others, I normally have the evidence. Go ahead.
Well, Webbo, I'm going to say this. In my dissertation at the time, heavily concentrating on what I'm going to say, you set up the system to entrap me. And you did.
Oh, okay. So
You did.
Walk with me. In other words,
because of the absence of thought.
no. So you had a brain fog.
No.
So if we're doing a case, right, and I'm able to make my case, and you admit that based on the case presentation that I was able to prevail.
Well, I
Based on the I was able to.
quite so.
Okay.
But there should have been
So enough.
fire in
A
the
light
game.
moment is work with me. A light moment is only a moment, and the moment is up. Edric, good evening. Go ahead.
Good evening, all. I must take a page out of the book of Up North with reference to our great Ed Arton. Once you are on the air in the United States, the first thing, especially a person who served in the armed forces, we or they usually say, thank you for serving. And my message to you, as I was introduced and recognized whom you were or whom you are, I said, thanks for the service that you've done to your country and your fellow men. Simply because you were among, and still are among, the greatest that Nevis has produced, in my view. Now, based on history, you have given us quite a lot to chew on in terms of what happened. Sadly, did you guys get any blows in Antigua at the time when the game broke up? Did you get it? Did the Antiguans came on the pitch or the field?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
And did you guys get blows from Nevis?
You know?
Did you got licks, as the case might be?
No. I stood up on the pavilion and I had a bat in my hand. So
Which was considered a weapon.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying to you, you guys were fortunate because currently, if you were among the current breed of players, and you, as the captain, gave that information or instructions, or that instruction to that cricketer,
The batsman.
batsman, you will have a fight on your hand currently. I believe so. Anyway, again, Ed, thank you for the great work you have done for our country. Now, the decision you made in terms of picking El Camino Willett turned out to be one of the greatest decisions you made.
Right.
Fortunately, I have in my archives a picture of El Camino Willett at Grove Park when I came back, and I was at the Independence celebration, and El Camino Willett was in the back. I just gave him that photograph, or a copy of it, at the 50th anniversary for his making the West Indies team. Well, again, based on the decision you made, because it is very likely that Lecky could have turned out to be the, but you gave him that based on what you saw. I would repeat the phrase that cricket is a head game, and you have to outthink and ultimately
Of course.
capture the wicket that is.
Yes, you have to think, because for instance, in the first of a game, when you go out to inspect the wicket, look at the wicket and the condition, right? Well, if it's overcast and I win the toss, I got no field because I move the ball in the air and put off the pitch. So if it's overcast, you're in trouble. That's it. So you have to have a good idea of the game. Because although the wicket is good and it's overcast, it's in my favor because I got to move the ball in the air and out the pitch. So they put the ball move in the air and out the wicket. So that's where the batsmen normally get in a lot of trouble because the ball swing, they go to swing, they get LBW on the ball and take the edge because it slips. Because it slips.
Well, you were quite a brainy fellow. Quite brainy.
Yeah. When it comes to the game, I was very smart. I was very smart, yeah.
You've proven it. Now let me ask you, with reference to you wanting all 9 wickets in a game, how practical was it? How many wickets did you get? The most wickets in a game?
Most wickets ever in a game was against India. I got 6 for 96 in Bastille. I got Gavaskar bowling court. I had the captain jump out on bowling for Z. No, to enter the score 100, but I never 6 for 97 in wickets against India.
Mr. Arton, when you played against India, which team you represented? Leeward Islands.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was being up with some of the bowling.
And some of the guys that were on the Leeward Islands team, can you recall some of the guys that were on the Leeward Islands team that played with you in that set match?
That's a long thing.
Any other players from Nevis?
Let me see if I remember any players in this.
Walter Morton played with.
No, I don't know.
Oh, he was before your time?
Who?
Oral Morton.
No. He
Okay.
didn't make it. Did not make a lot of runs.
Okay.
No. Let's see. Ed Arton. No, I don't think nobody's played for this, no. I don't think so. I probably played. I'm not sure. But Antigua always wanted to have the most of everything, so most of Antigua.
On reflection, Mr. Arton, would you say that you came close to making the West Indies team? How close do you think that you reached to the doors of the West Indies team?
I think I was fairly close because I could have bowled and also I could have bat. But in those days, they were not thinking about small line people. Up to today. I felt like we're in New York. Somehow I like the guy Carty from St. Martin, but they weren't playing. They're circling The horse spinner from Barbados. What's his name again? The horse spinner from Barbados name.
Nurse?
Huh?
Nurse?
Who?
Nurse?
No. What did I put it in?
A player from yesterday?
No, he's talking about current.
I'm thinking currently right now.
Yes.
They're recycling this guy from Barbados as a horse spinner. What's his name? I forget his name.
We'll get it.
Well, he played in Australia yesterday in 2020.
Well, I must admit that based on the fact that the West Indies is not doing very well, my passion for the game has been lowered. At the same time, I don't follow it as I used to. But-
Neither do I, but as a cricketer, I have to look at it sometime or the other.
Well, we always follow the game in our time, but we know. We just want to know how badly we beat them. West Indies team I'm talking about in the earlier years. We know we're going to beat them. How badly did we beat them? That was the...
That is true.
Well, we are at crossroads, whereas CPL, of which we are part, has done some good work, but need to get up there with the winning teams.
To me, the way I said, the guys that plays today, they don't love the game. They're only playing for money. No, because the guys say no out. That's real crazy. They're not thinking. No. So, that's really good. Back in the old time, they said they bought me a golden spoon. They really can't play, but they're making money. In my day, I had to pay my passage. I used to pay my passage to go to represent my country.
Wow.
Today, they get everything, gloves. I think Sunday I was in the park. I was looking at the game. I see a guy putting on some pads here, pads here, pads here, pads here. And the kid's good. You don't need, I mean, and nobody from the class and the helmet. You don't need all those equipment. I can see the kid is bad. You protect yourself, but if he's good, you don't need all that. When you got you can't bat, you have to go stuff on you. Right away you defeat the purpose, you're going to in fear. Now you're going to put all these clothes, all these things on, you're playing in fear. When you're going to, you can't be playing in fear. Your job is to keep riding the ball. When you guy ball short, you swing one way or the other and let pass. Easy. It's easy as that. Bounce, really pass, bounce, go the other way, and then as I do it, just like a jihad. You come into me and I figure you think I stop you. Try to get your noise, you know? And you come in again. Okay, if you bowl me one more once, I got to hook you. Come on, duck, you put me a hook. I play the head game now. That's what I do. I use my head. But this guy can leave it all for pads all over the place. Pad here, pad here. In my day, we used to play. I had one cricket bat, one pair of gloves, and a shield guard. No helmet, cap, and I go in there and play. You get soft like this. We have to play in it. These two guys, they're ready to get hard like here, now they still put all the instrument on. They don't need all that. All you do is to watch the ball, play the correct way, and that's all you need.
Arton, as you spoke about hooking, I think I read somewhere that you were facing up to Andy Roberts at the E.T. Willett Park, then Grove Park, and you told him that the next delivery you're going to hook him for 6. And lo and behold, the very next delivery, you actually hooked him for 6. Can you recall that and probably tell us something more about that particular match and what went on?
Well, just before that, he had Parry in his neck. Parry.
Okay.
From on cotton ground. So I went into the other and he started bowling.
Which of the parries?
Huh?
Which of the Parrys?
Derek.
Derek. Oh, Derek.
And so I went to the other end and he started bouncing. I told him, if you continue bouncing, I'm going to hook you down in my house. He don't live down there. So he bumped, a limpard, next day, hook him. That's it. You know? But, huh?
Are you saying that you get the courage to hook him because he would have knocked Mr. Parry in his neck? They said over. Are they over prior?
In the same over.
In same over?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what was his reaction? Because we all know that Mr. Roberts and the Roberts would have at least went on to play if he wasn't playing at the time for the West Indies team.
No, he hasn't played for the West Indies yet. No,
He wasn't playing.
No.
But he must have been a good bowler back then to go on to play for the West Indies team, as you would have spoke to the difficulties in small islanders making the West Indies team. So he must have been a good prospect at that
Yeah,
time.
he had good pace. Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. But he developed. He went to England to play, and he developed more in England because they play more cricket in England than in the West Indies. That's why.
And it appears as if that getting cricketing gears, pads, gloves, bats, etc. were very hard to come by then. But let's speak somewhat about the pitches. Who used to prepare the pitches? Because now I think that they have groundsmen who actually preparing the pitches. Who used to prepare the pitches? You, the cricketers themselves?
For
Rolling and so on.
for big matches or for local games?
Well, both for local and big matches, so to speak.
Well, we had a guy in Wiggles called Bonzo, usually over just about the pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He only the one that used to prepare the wickets. But I used to prepare the one for our club because I live just next door.
And
The
what,
park is here, I live just below here. So at evening time, after we finish practice, I will wet it with water. And when I wake up in the morning, I roll before I go to work. So that when we come in the afternoon, we can practice. But I used to do that.
and your club was Patterns? Was
No,
it?
Rovers.
So who was Patterns?
A team from Government Road.
Okay. So you were Rovers and there was a team from Government Road. And when did El Midowillet played with you at club level?
Yes.
And he played for which team?
Government Road.
Government Road.
Yeah.
Okay. And you saw the talent back then,
The potential.
the potential. That's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And about how many clubs that they had locally in Nevis back then?
It should be okay, let's see. Rovers, Spartan, Campground, Gingerland, and a team from Winwood.
Okay. So there was just about
Five or six, no more.
5 or 6 clubs.
And we used to play on Thursday and Saturdays only. From 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, but sometimes the game start 2 o'clock, you know it is here.
Yes.
Some people don't get from up till late, so the game will start late.
So those matches on the weekends, the Saturday matches, they would have run from Saturday only, or just Saturday and
No, the game start Thursday and finish on Saturday.
starting as Thursday.
Thursday and finish on Saturday. Thursday is half day here. In those days,
Yeah.
and Thursday just being half day. So you're off on Thursday and Saturday, and then half day, so you're off.
So the match would be like a 2 innings match and it continue.
Yes.
Something like Barbados. I think Barbados would play Saturday, Sunday this weekend and finish the match the next the 3 day match. But interesting. I at least I learned something. I never knew that. I never knew that we once start a 2-day match on a Thursday and then complete it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So how about the Sunday? There were no games on Sundays?
No, not in those days, no.
That's a church day.
Yeah.
Those church days.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So your first match for Nevis, you'd have played against who for the first?
The first match finished. I think my first match finished was against Sinkits in Nevis, I think so. I got by name one, I was first bowler. Yeah. And I opened innings. I didn't last so long, I got out LBW. And that's it.
You would have indicated that you played for the Nevis team. But did you play for the Sinkits Nevis team?
Yes.
And
I played in Dominica. We had a misunderstanding. The idea all the time we played the game and they decided to give me the ball to the late minutes, late in the game. When Harris gave me the ball, I tried to win.
So Harris was the captain?
Yeah.
That's Len Harris, I presume?
Yeah, Len Harris, yeah.
And about how many?
I ended up being the man of the match, you know. Making the most and getting still get the most wickets.
Even though you would have thrown away the ball?
Yeah. Yeah. And in those days you played the garden. You had a large field and you played the centre. That's it, the park in Dominica. You used to call it the garden. You know, trees around here and you play inside here. Like here, trees around here and you play inside here.
And
Yep, sorry.
when you speak of those days, roughly, are you speaking about the 50s, the 60s, the 70s?
Let's see. I said the 60s. You got to be the 60s.
60s. Yes.
I live in 77, so you got to be the 60s.
Yes.
That's long before me.
Yeah. Not you, a lot of people.
And when you represented the Sinkits Nevis team, about how many Nevisians were on that team?
I think it was over four of us. Myself, Sergeant, Howell, and Theodore Walters, four of us.
Interesting. And the others from Nevis, they were batsmen, bowlers?
Well, I was a bowler. Theodore was a bowler. Sergeant, outstanding batsman. Sergeant was the batsman.
Yes.
Howell was the batsman, yeah. Two batsmen and two bowlers, yeah. Four of us, I think.
You're talking about Alfred Howell.
Yeah.
Okay, because his father was the captain of Nevis team.
Yeah, well, in the old days,
Yes.
everything. Howell did everything. He did everything for the game.
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you. He was a sincere man. He was a nice man. He's really public. Nice man. He was a very nice man.
Yeah.
Tell me that.
So that's the gentleman that the
Whose
pavilion
name?
is
Yes.
named after.
Yeah.
That's the.
Was named after.
He was, he was a very tall, nice, and gentleman. He was a gentleman.
Yeah,
He knew it. He did everything for the game as he possibly can.
You mentioned the 5 different teams, basically spread us across.
Okay, gentlemen, let me just entertain this caller. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Hello. Good evening. I have a question for Mr. Arton. Mr. Howell, Alfred Howell. Well, I remember him as follow. He used to teach
In
Brown Hill.
Yes, in Brown Hill.
Not
Yes.
Brown Hill.
Yes.
Prospect School.
Same thing, Brown Hill.
He started at
No,
Brown
it's
School.
Brown Hill is the old school. Prospect School is the new school, and then it changed to Ivor Walter, so it's Prospect School. No, he used to teach there, but for my generation and people younger than me, we wouldn't have seen a lot of Mr. Howell. But from what I understand, he was a really good batsman. Could Mr. Arton, expound on his ability? Do you think he was good enough to probably make the West Indies team? What kind of batsman was he? Was he? Because based on what I was told, he was a real solid batsman. I'll listen off here.
Okay. Arton?
Yes, he was a good batsman, but in those days we weren't playing between you with the islands. They weren't thinking about us, so then you can't really jump to the conclusion when you could make the West Indies side or not. But he was a good batsman, I'm being honest with you. He played the ball very well, and he had a lot of good shots.
Okay, good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening. I want to speak to Mr. Arton. Mr. Arton, it's a pleasure knowing you. This is the young guy from Jindaland that won the 5 Domino games tonight. And you also a very, very good Domino player as well. And I've always heard that you was Nevy's best captain. And even the way you played Domino could tell that you was a great captain in your time. Okay, Mr. Arton, one question. I remember you told me about the fastest bowler you ever faced. I think you said it was from Montserrat. I want you to please give the name again.
Soames was from Montserrat.
Yes.
Oh, Soames.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay then. Have a good evening. Great program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Arton, as I was asking, you would have indicated that the teams back then were 5 teams and they basically spread around the island, the different parishes. In terms of the grounds, in Gingerland, what grounds?
5 here, let me just take this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Hello, good evening, gentlemen. Clinton Swanston here. I just need to call in and, say what a great man Ed Arton was. He came up at a time when Nevis was producing cricketers. And I remember Ed Arton coming over from St. Kitts. I think he used to work in St. Kitts. And he'll come over, we'll meet at Grove Park, and he will talk all afternoon, tell us what to do, what not to do. And everything he said turned out to be right. Before going a little further, let me say also that Cossons was a fast bowler from Antigua, not Montserrat. I think the fast bowler from Montserrat was Roach. But Stones,
she's correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
was from Antigua, and he died quite early. He was one that had, he was touting to get in the West Indies team, but he got in a car accident and he died early o'clock. But Ed Arton, I think, is the best brain to come out of Nevis. He knew exactly what to do. He got behind with it and he got with it into the West Indies, into the Nevis team, and with it propelled from the onward. But Ed, playing for Leeward Islands, playing for Nevis, he was a person who everybody looked up to. Number one, his flannels. He dressed so immaculately that he just had to look at Ed. He'll run in and bowl the ball, and this where the ball swings in the air. Like, I've never been to England, but I hear the ball moves about a lot in England. Ed used to get the same type of movement here in Nevis. And he will tell you, okay, well, you bowl this ball, I'm going to hit it for 4, I hit it for 6. And Ed does exactly what he says he's going to do. I guess that's why a lot of us came up talking a lot, because Ed taught us how to think the game, how to play the game. And, I really look forward to seeing him before he go back. He was a great inspiration to all of us who grew up in that era. And I'm so very thankful to hear him tonight talking, about his experiences and everything else. A great man. And I think Nevis needs to do something, in recognition of Ed. I think he prepared the team when Sargent was here, Howell, I think Everson Hall came in at a particular time, and we had some great players, and most of them were inspired by Ed Arton. And thankful, I hope I could see before you go back, Ed, and I really appreciate those moments in the 1960s, early 70s, when you came over to Nevis and you lent us your wisdom, you gave it to us freely, and we followed and we learned, and some of us came out good cricketers, but all was because of your inspiration, your advice, and everything else. Thank you so very much, Ed.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd just like to add here, the caller spoke about the inspiration. And don't know how many in the listening public know that Ed Arton is the brother of Glendale Herbert, who normally sometimes is on this show as well. And Glenn and I were speaking yesterday, today, in reference to Ted, on different, to Ed and different matters. And the caller pointed out the inspiration that he provided for the rest of us, and the integrity, and you see, the beyond even the cricket, it taught us how to, he inspired us, he taught us how to play the game, etc., etc., and in life, how to succeed. And so I just wanted to add something to that in the inspiration part of it. Fifield, I think I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Webbo. Yes, Mr. Arton, I was asking about the grounds, the different grounds that you would have played on in Nevis. And I was asking specifically about Gingerland. When you played against Gingerland, where did you play in Gingerland?
I don't remember any place. I'll be honest with you.
I don't know if those days, I don't know if
no, they didn't move around.
Huh?
They didn't move around. Everything was done at Grove Park.
Only later on the different areas began to have their own fields, like in Jessops and stuff like that. But most of those main matches were played in town.
Charlestown, yeah.
Well, at least, this is an educational process for me, so I'm learning by asking questions, and I'm happy because I really wanted to know, but now I understand that it was a centralized area,
And in terms of centralized, I don't know if you also noticed that in his earlier comments, he mentioned that the Leewards tournament, the matches were played in one island. They were not moving around as they move around now. Well, these days they have gone back to play some so those in the early days, you didn't have that luxury of moving around for the different matches and so on and so forth. Also, Roger, you have also learned that it doesn't matter whether or not you have nets, coaches, properly prepared wickets, etc., etc. That doesn't hamper you from becoming good?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. And what I have picked up to Mr. Herbert about Mr. Arton back then, he was a no-nonsense guy and he was very well respected. And it appears as if, to me, when he said yes, he meant yes. When he said no, he meant no. I am gathering that as the conversation go on.
And for the light moment, and when he tell his batsman, don't come out, as you know.
They don't come out.
Well, I played at the school level with Alfred Howell.
You make the lady smile, Edric. I'll come back to that. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yes, a question again for Mr. Arton. Back in the day when he was playing, you heard a lot about him swinging the ball in the air. And I would have experienced that. I've seen that happen at Grove Park one afternoon I was there. He was bowling, and you actually almost see the ball like he make a Z. We don't hear about that, nowadays. The bowlers nowadays don't seem to have the ability to get the ball to move in the air. My question is that a special technique, or is this just gifted for some people? I mean, I can't figure out how he got it done. But to me, it was miraculous. So could Mr. Arton explain to us if it's a special technique to get the ball moving through the air, or what? I don't know. I'm listening.
It just depends on the action. The action depends. I had a high action and a wrong arm action. When I move, the body everything moves it. So my hand and the body come over at the same time. So the ball moves in the air. So if you look at the ball, so the balls, I run in and I run up to this side and then deliver the ball on the side. So
somewhat of a Rona action.
Yeah. Hope she understands.
Yes, I'm sure he understands.
Well, basically, you have done human service with reference to the representation of cricket. Let me ask a personal question. You should be retired now, but what did you do when you left Nevis?
Well, the last job I had was driving a limo for a guy on Wall Street. But
Good job.
Huh?
Big time.
Good job.
Big time.
All I had to do, go to Staten Island, pick him up, bring to your office, sleep in the car all day. When you finish working 4 o'clock, he like to hang out with you. When you won't believe it, with you. Like hang out, take him to a club, hang out there, then take him home, pick him next morning, and that's what the routine.
Wall Street.
I think that you are a very resourceful man, a very experienced cricketer, and I want to believe while you are here, because what I'm gathering is that you don't reside here on island, and you might be returning to where you reside. But I want to believe while you are here, the relevant authority should probably see if they can.
Let me just take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, good evening. I'm listening to the conversation and I just realized Arton the Great is on the show. I came in when I heard him talk about hitting Andy Roberts for 6. I mean, we always talk about that. He didn't even tell him he was hitting for 6. When he bounced the second time, we were there watching. He pointed down by the bag. And when he pointed by the bag and show him that's where he's going to hit him, the next ball, he was down by his mother's house where he lived. In the bag. I don't think they're trying the ball. Right? And that's something I never forget. Also, as a young man coming up in Bath, I realized that we started to win cricket when Ed Arton became captain. Nevis used to lose out for 29, Suey and Gilbert weighing me out. So Listener Nuttall. And when he took over the captaincy, we started to win. To the point where when we beat up Singh Sabad, they couldn't even go down by the pier to. I remember one time when he named jump defense, the captain for Singh Sabad, we beat him so bad. And Monstrat in particular, Lord, I used to sorry for Monstrat. They used to get licked. I mean, balls for nothing. I mean, will it, I mean, with all the coaching what, and you have to give Ed Arton a lot of credit for that. The coaching when he gives these guys, when he talk really poor, when he give really the ball, that was it. That was it. He just ball out Monstrat, who really ran nothing every time. So, I'm glad you came on, Ed Arton to share your experiences with us, and those things we can't really forget as growing up, because we used to call ourselves in Bath, we like park rats, Bath and government road people. We always on the park, so we knew what's going on. But we never forget that 6. That 6 was, you just point down by the bat and that was it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, you're on the air. Could you go ahead?
Yeah.
Could you turn your radio or whatever you're listening down?
I'm working on it. Yeah. Okay. Webbo, here, Mike. Anyway, I couldn't help but try and get into Mr. Stanley. You forced me.
Okay.
Mr. Ed Arton, a.k.a. the Guna. We thank you for your service.
Thanks so much.
You and all the others. Sergeant, Griffin, Harold Walters, Theodore Walters, Alfred Howell, those guys in the older days. Guy Hendrickson they used to call him Pasha. We want to thank you guys for the service. Mr. Arton, you look a little different without your hair.
Well, that's what life changes. Life changes.
Yeah. But I'm still able to recognize you.
Okay.
And, the discipline part. I was young in primary school, so we had to steal a chance and to get to the park to see cricket and stuff like that. I could remember when we got to high school, we used to people from the woodworkshop climb up on desk and people from the top of the woodworkshop to watch the game.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see what else I remember about the Ford Capri. I think I will close with that. You remember? Oh, well, I think you would remember. Okay, take care. And thanks for coming back. And it's good to see you. And, I always wondered. And I always asked Glenn about you. Take care. All the best.
Okay, thank you very much for calling.
Thank you very much. And callers, please, if you're listening, please call. We'll appreciate you saying to Mr. Atherton, just as the caller did, if you appreciate his service to the country and what help us to be who and what we are, not only in cricket but as a people. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yeah, again, Clinton Swanson. During those days, right, Atherton, Ed might forget it, also had CSS team, secondary school had a team which played in the competitions at that time. And I think that there are some very memorable moments, especially when guys like Cuthbert Richardson and Ball of these guys used to play. And Ed came and he did his great things for us. But one match in particular I could remember against St. Kitts. I think St. Kitts got bowled out for 29. And it is said, I'm not sure, but Ed could probably clarify that Ed said that St. Kitts' first three batsmen can't make as much as Sargent. He said that before the match. Sargent got one out for 1 hour, got out for 1. And Ed came and he got 3 wickets on a run. And I think it's probably 5 for 1 or something like that. It was a very memorable afternoon.
5 for 2.
5 for 2, yeah. St. Kitts' first three batsmen can't make as much as what Sargent make. Sargent got 1 out for 1. And Ed had them on the road until somebody dropped a catch. I think Theodore Hobson was the captain at that particular time. And I'm thinking it's got to be Ed could have, done exactly what he said. Got the first 3 batsmen for no run. Ed, you remember that, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, I was saying to the authorities that I think that this is a good time, an opportune time for you to tap in to the experience of Mr. Atherton while he's here. Get the cricketers, present cricketers, the young cricketers, the grassroots cricketers, and if you can get him to speak to the youngsters about the game, I believe that could be beneficial to the youngsters, because he has a vast knowledge of the game. Just sitting here listening to him, he knows the game inside out. And I believe, and he just don't, what I'm gathering is that he just don't know the game alone. He thinks the game, he thinks ahead, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps ahead of the batsmen. So I believe that it would be a really, really good opportunity. There was a song, Webbo, that Jane just sang some time ago, that sink its liquid out of the wicket for 29.
Let me get this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Webbo, I had to call back because one of the points I wanted to make is that as a young fellow in school, in primary school, and we listen to the cricket commentary on the radio, and we hear about Ed Arton and stuff like that. And as Mr. Swanson just said about the inspirational part, when I got a chance to see Ed Arton, because he worked at the customs as a customs officer and in his uniform and all that. Talk about exemplary. That that's an inspiration. Just seeing the cool demeanor in his uniform. And I just thought I'd add that.
Right, and the respect from the rest of the society.
The respect that he commanded. All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Webbo, I'm learning as I go along. I've now learned that Mr. Arton was a customs officer.
Yep.
So there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn, and I believe that he have so much that he can share with our young and upcoming cricketers, and I really hope that the relevant authority would reach out to him. And I think with Stanley who alluded to it, and not just reach out to him for him to give back, but reach out in a way that we can give back to him. Because someone said earlier that he would have done so much for our cricket, and persons such as Mr. Willett, Elko, our first Division and Leeward Islander to make the West Indies team. And Willett just did it on his own, based on what I'm gathering. He would have gotten the push from Mr. Arton, and of course I believe that the knowledge that Arton would have passed on to Mr. Willett would have propelled him into what he became as a cricketer. So I believe that when we think of the cricketing father or fathers of Nevis, based on what I would have heard and what I'm hearing now, Arton name must be edged in history.
Good evening, thank you for holding.
I just want to say something. Good evening. I think that we should make a stand at El Camino Park and name it off of Ed Arton. I think that will inspire a lot of our younger cricketers to just having that stand, to make the stand and name it off of Ed Arton for his contribution that they made to Nevis in terms of his cricket career and his custom career as well. So I think that a stand should be named off of Ed Arton.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, could you just call back? 469-1616 or 469-1700. We're asking you to be patient with us.
Mr. Arton, what would you say was the best cricketing match over your career?
The best cricketing match over my career. I wish to do one in Antigua.
And who you played against?
Antigua. Yeah.
What about, you said you would have played against Gavaskar of India, that's Sunil Gavaskar?
Huh? Gavaskar, yeah.
Okay. So about those matches, you know?
I played one match.
One match?
In those days, we were only in one match.
And you took 6 wickets?
Yeah.
Interesting. And you would have played against Guyana, you said. Any?
Shell Shield.
Any other regional team?
No, let's see. Leeward Island against Guyana.
Okay. You played against Barbados, perhaps?
Yeah, I played in Barbados. And it's Holt and Shepherd and all guys there.
Okay, let me just get this and come back. Okay, just go ahead. I think caller, as I saying, please be patient with us. Go ahead.
Yes, so I was asking, how about the Windward Islands? You played against the Windward Islands?
No.
No. Okay. So Barbados, Jamaica,
No,
Guyana.
I played against Barbados and Guyana. No, played against Jamaica.
In those days, you had any particular cricketer who you looked up to, who you tell yourself, I want to be like this particular cricketer?
Well, the name, listen, what do you call him? Gunasina. Cricketer by the name Gunasina.
Gunasina. Hence your alias Guna.
Yeah.
Okay.
I only have the name machine Antigua and that was it.
Okay. And where Gunasina was from?
I guess English.
English?
In India, England.
Okay. I have never heard that name in reference to cricket.
Yes.
But now because a caller called in and they did say that your alias, is Guna. And now we understand how you get the name Guna.
Yeah.
It's all embedded in cricket.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. And Guna was a batsman or a bowler?
A batsman.
A batsman. Okay. And Mr. Arton, were you a right-handed batsman and bowler?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're learning as we go along, And how you look at the game today? How you view the game today, opposed to back in the 60s and the 70s?
Well, Test cricket is alright, but all that cricket I'm not interested in, really. God, in those days, in the autumn days, when I was coming up and everyone played with the plane, and we used to say, oh shit, now they're making big money to do the same thing. You understand? You just hit the ball and they go and make a lot of money. So I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in Test cricket.
Okay, let me just get this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yes, good evening again, Mr. Herbert. Roger said he's learning, so we might as well, once we have Ed Arton here, let me ask a question. Mr. Arton,
yes, sir.
You are part of the Nevis team, or you were the captain of the Nevis team when they had that controversial match in Antigua.
Yes, sir.
And what could you tell us about that match? Because we've been hearing all sorts. Could you get it from the horse's mouth?
That match, I think that match took place in 1967 or something like that. And Antigua won the toss and they batted fourth. And we had many appeal for Richards. We haven't caught the ones in court. Okay? So to finally get him out. So the first thing they make about 20 something runs, and then the ball was out for a small score. The second thing they gave us about 20 something runs to make. And Howell and Sargent had 100 something runs going on for 1 wicket. And just before lunch, a guy, I forget the umpire, a short little black guy was the umpire, sent him out LBW. And I tell him, I said, Howell, don't move, God, we had a Richard D and I said him, so don't move. And that's what ended the game.
In other words, you, in that instance, were kind of outlaw. You're an outlaw at that time, outlaw.
No,
you were not an outlaw. How could
what goes good for the gander.
Yeah, but you're not the captain. I mean, you're not the umpire.
So what the hell do they with the umpire? They have incident. Wait, do you say incident play now? No, do you look at quit now?
Yes.
Do you say incident play?
Yes.
Do the umpire make mistake?
So
okay, so don't tell me outlaw.
So in other words, you were well ahead of your time.
Of course.
So
come on,
what you did in your brain, you did an instant.
Now the umpire don't mean you right.
Right. So in other words, in your brain, just like you told us, you were able to read the game and outthink the batsman when you were bowling, right?
Yeah.
So you were able to do a sort of instant replay in your brain and realize that your man was not out.
No, I'm not instant play. Look at the game right there. Then the instant play right there and the spot. I'm in the pavilion. Look at it.
And so you knew he wasn't out.
Yes.
So you tell him don't move.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, every now and then they have an old country song which says sometimes you got to kick a little. In other words, a little civil disobedience now and then can make the point. Because after that, the umpires try to make sure that they don't cheat, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. If you're just joining us, you can call in and give your appreciation to Mr. Ed Arton, who was one of the early captains of the Nevis cricket team when Nevis began to make cement its authority in leeward's cricket. And if you're just joining us as well, we had learned earlier that he was a captain when Elkimida Willett first made the Nevis team. In those early days, when Willett got into your team, Ed, I think a caller referred to those instances when poor Montserrat couldn't negotiate with it at all. So by the time you threw the ball to Willett, the whole team was down. And those were, would you say, the beginning of the times when we really began dominating?
Yes.
Because you had that weapon in Elkimida Willett.
Yes.
Most of the teams were not able to negotiate him, correct?
No, after Jim Allen was putting very well. And after we got Jim Allen, it was all over. Really just went to them every over a wicket, he got 7 wickets, 20 runs, something like that, yeah.
What was that same game against Montserrat? I often hear about. Montserrat was 100 and maybe 14 or something like for 2 and Odom for 126 or something like that.
Yes, I think, yeah, right at Bob Park.
Okay, I heard a lot about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I'm learning now that you were the captain.
Yes, sir.
How you view Grove Park now in terms of the size? Were the boundaries much smaller then? Are they basically the same as then?
No, well, the ground is much leveler, it's most flat, and they have a good system. The field is good, much better than I was playing, and they have a good roller. And my day we used to pull it, now they just drive it on. So they should be much better these days than in my day.
No, I'm speaking about the boundaries.
It's about the same. It's about the same. Nothing changed, but the boundaries haven't changed.
Based on cricket rules.
You should get always small on that side over there because it's cool. And it goes up there, so it's always small over there. But it's the same.
I'm happy that you'd have said that. So persons listening, especially the younger ones, they don't think that maybe the boundaries were smaller why you guys, made so much runs.
No, the boundaries were small. No.
Okay.
The boundaries went up even bigger because it was going down in a slant. In those days it was a slant. The ground was up, the wicket was up here.
Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yeah.
Good evening, Webbo. Good evening. Hello, you hear me?
Yes, you're on the air. Could you go ahead?
Good evening, Webbo. Good evening, Mr. Arton.
Good evening.
And good evening to the next guest here. Now, I hear about you, but I don't know much about you playing cricket. But I always hear about this Mr. Arton, who represents me back in them times. And I hear my father talk a lot about you.
Okay.
And other cricketers from Antigua, the mountain cricketers and so. So I want to commend you coming on the year and to encourage these youngsters now. No cricket getting money. Plenty money in cricket now. In the time, y'all ain't do nothing much.
Not much. I had to pay my own way. Not much way to get no pay.
I know, and these youngsters now are backing back from the game. They're backing back. Suppose the thing, they're backing back. They can't think they're gonna anymore now. And I believe that those time was around, and you had the opportunity in this time now, because you are passionate more about the game. and to play the game. Even me, because I play cricket too. I play mini cricket too. Club cricket. And he was passionate about the game and about the Antigua situation with Richard and the out and he heard about that. And you know, I agree with you. don't come out. Back in them time, you know how it was, because the system was kind of poor with the empire and also, and no technology was there to know that whether he owns or not. So I played cricket and game broke up because of the same situation, just because with the empire in Antigua, we happened down here sink it, and all the way up, I believe we happened in Navis too. That game broke up that way. Anyway, nice program, and I will continue to listen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yes, good evening, Webbo. How are you? All right. I have a job for you to do. We have an...
Could you speak much louder?
I say I have a job for you to do. We are in an education, in a seminary right now, and you need to get 2 more tutors in the person of Livingston Sargent and El Comida Willis, along with Mr. Willis, with Mr. Arton there, to give the youngsters them their technique in playing. And I know you will get caught that next result. So I'm asking you to try to, while Mr. Arton is here, if you get Mr. Livingston Sargent and Mr. Willis, we hear them heavyweight, that they could teach the young people of this game of cricket as they used to play. Anyway, thank you very much.
Do you know that I do thought I get results?
And how we mean?
You sure about, work with me, you sure about that?
I know present tense.
Okay, I'm just checking. Alright, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, okay, what else we got? Yes, Mr. Edric Stanley. By the way, Ed, let me take this first and then I'll ask the question. Good evening, thank you. Caller, please call that. Ed, you never knew Stanley. Stanley ever played in the Nevis team with you? Edric?
No.
No, okay. And it's not that you just don't remember, you're sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You're sure, okay. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yeah, Webbo, me again. Ed's, the decision he made to tell Sergeant to stay how to stay the wicket. I think when we were growing up, we used to hear a lot about umpire's decision is final. You do not question an umpire. Well, it helps people like Ed and other people who have transformed the game that you have to question the umpires. That's why the DRS system came in after a long time, because there used to be so much cheating going on, and umpire's decision is final. You have to take it and go and start for the rest of the day. You know, it's people like Ed and other people who made a big noise when they were cheated out, that we have to get this DRS system, which is operational at the present moment, and they seem as though they cannot do without the DRS system, because it has brought a lot of justice to the cricketers, and even with the DRS system, people are still questioning it. So, you could imagine how bad it was in those days. And another thing, we were going up and we took pride in cricketers. That's why Guna have the name Guna. And you have a lot of other people have names of cricketers. We passionately adopt the names of other people. And but in our school days, everybody had a name. I used to, when I said right, up to now they call me Beatty, because I fashioned myself after Bashing Singh Beatty. And that's just the way it was. Guna was this guy Guna, and we had Capel Dev, and but these days we don't really seem to have that much love for farmer cricketers, so much pride in having them, that we don't name ourselves after them anymore. But that was one of the reasons why we pushed ourselves to excel, because of the name of people that we adopted and carried. And although we know we were not like them, we aimed to be like them. And so, thank you very much, Ed Arton.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Well, what I was trying to convey to the panel and the listening audience, is that when I was at primary school, I played cricket very well, but my main thing was to look after my mother. And when fellas came to Charlestown to play cup matches and so on, I gotta go cook, I gotta go bring in my small animals, and that was my priority.
So the next thing you're gonna tell me you were a chef?
Quite so. Quite so.
You make Mr. Atherton laugh.
Quite so.
The shepherd, perhaps.
Yes, quite so.
Ed, you're just the best, and only the best will do. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening, Mr. Herbert, and good evening to the gentleman in the studio, and a special good evening to
Mr. Arton.
Atherton.
Mr. Arton.
Yes.
So good to hear your voice. I grew up in a time when you were high on the cricketing business. I remember the story, hearing the story about the batsman, Sargent and Howell not moving out of the wicket, not knowing that you were the chief architect behind it. The whole thing. And I've heard quite a lot, and I must say many thanks to you for the inspiration you have given to cricket in Nevis, and not only that, the help that you have given in ensuring, use that term, that Nevis was able to produce the first test player from the Leeward Islands on the West Indies team. Well, I'm living in Station now for many years, but I think I can safely say that cricket used to be played here in Station. I would have heard the older players, the older people talk about cricket, and I would hear them mention your name in terms of Atherton and all the others. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For the help, the support that you have given. And I hope that you will be able to, cricket fraternity in Nevis, and even the government can do something of a high standard that will not only keep El Cornero Willett high on the whole set of things, but I see you as the pioneer, the father of Nevis cricket. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Atherton, it's a privilege again to be sitting here with you and learning. You said that you follow Test cricket. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Comparing.
Just before you do that, Roger, let's go back to the lines. Good evening, thank you for holding. Caller, you're on the air.
Good evening to the whole panelists.
Okay, caller, could you turn your listening instrument down?
Okay.
You will hear us via the telephone. Okay, I'm sorry. Callers, when you call, you want to turn your radio or, Good evening, thank you for holding.
Hello, good evening, Webbo.
Yes, you're on the air.
Yes, this is Sydney Liebert. I'm calling from Toronto. I was inspired to call in because I played many years ago with Ed. I never made it to the Island tournament, but I was perhaps on the verge of doing that back in 1970. And I can remember going over to St. Kitts and taking part in a game against, I think it's 11 with Ed as the captain. So unfortunately I joined the program a little late, but I just felt inspired to call because I can remember when the tournament broke up in Antigua in '69. So I don't know if you recall me being a part of the team at the time.
Yeah, call it. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Ask him his name again, Webbo.
Yes, Sid, what's your name?
Sydney Liebert.
Sydney Liebert. Ed, you remember Sydney Liebert on the team at that time? When you played in Antigua?
I wasn't on the team then. I played a pre-tournament game in
okay.
Ed as the captain with Harold Walters and Van Emery and those guys. But I wasn't actually on the team in '69 when they broke up in Antigua.
Oh, okay.
But I played some matches with Ed as well.
Okay, it doesn't seem to quite recall, but you know, we appreciate you because what we're appreciating persons doing is to talking about his service and thanking him as well.
Yes, and I just felt inspired because I was just a little 19-year-old at the time. I'm in my 70s now, but it does bring back the memories of the time that I had before I left in '71 to migrate to Canada. So I wish him all the best. I joined the program a little late, so I don't know how it started, but I wish him all the best, and thanks for taking the call.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for your contribution here.
Okay.
Okay, good, thank you. 469-1616 and 1700 for Ed Arton. You know, it's interesting that sometimes, as they did in the days of Martin Luther King with those marches and stuff like that and so on, and them getting arrested, what I find is fascinating about this incident in Antigua, when you give an instruction and a game is stopped in that way, that is supposed to be something good. But it seems to me, because of the circumstances, and sometimes perhaps when you feel oppressed, people go with the underdog who is seemingly being oppressed and had to go against the stringent rules that were there. So it seems to me as if I'm getting the impression that when Ed Arton gave that instruction, which he, by the rules, should not have given, to tell his player to stand his ground because you're not out, because after all he's not the umpire. But it seems to me that people looked at it in a good light. Sometimes you got to kick a little.
Well, who knows exactly why the electronic umpire was brought to the fore, because this occurred years before the electronic umpire was brought to the fore, in my view. Maybe I'm wrong, but the caller said back in '69.
In those days they are not fair umpires.
Well, what I'm saying to you,
two person on to umpire the game for the umpire. That's what they do.
Well, here we knew that was the rule then. But
what is it, Ed? You call two fellas to umpire and they call them umpire?
Yes, the train umpire. You go up to the park. You go up to the park to umpire. You're an official umpire. You do my umpiring powers, and so now they're the umpire. They do their best. They do their best. That's what it was in those days.
Right.
Huh?
So to be fair, the fellow who gave Howell out, he, in his view, thought he was doing his best.
How you know that? How you know that? He said Antigua how you know doing his best?
That's a
between Antigua and Antigua, how you know doing his best?
Yeah, but that's a deduction from what you had said earlier. They call two fellas, say we're playing a game, wanted to umpire. They come and they do their best, right? So anyway, you know, it's good to reflect on that and yes, Edwin.
So what I'm attempting to say or ask, when did the third umpire electronic system implemented? When was it implemented?
Probably about 10 years ago.
Okay, so based on the annals of history, they might have gone back and recognized that some injustice had occurred.
In 1969.
Right.
In Antigua.
And thereby bringing about the third umpire to adjudicate in the absence of the human element of it. So,
but this is not cricket. But I will tell you, if they decide to have, you know, panel discussions and stuff like that, and they're picking a team, and they told me that I have to pick so and so, I say I'm picking Edric. And if they tell me I can't pick Edric, then I break up the game. Because I'm walking with Edric.
well,
so just like Ed said, my fellows are not so used to it. So in this scenario, I'm walking with Edric.
Quite so.
Okay.
Well, just for you know, a little edification, the DRS system came into being in 2008.
But that does not negate the fact that they could have gone back to the annals of history way back in 1969
No,
and work with me and then invented it as a consequence.
That's a possibility.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
So the rudeness or the unofficial decision of our great
Ed Arton.
They recognize, and I'm saying this now from the mic of Von Radio, to say that this is real.
You'll finish it up after this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yeah, good evening again, Webber. Webber, I believe that's where the system come in here. After so much cheat out and all those things. Because I remember 1975, when I was a young boy listening to cricket. My father, because my father used to love cricket, but my father was a mouse shuttle. And he didn't love cricket, and we used to stay up all night and listen to cricket. A lot of cheating is went down with the West Indies in Australia. Man out and in out. And the Australians going to go back now. Ball it them out and the tip and the cart and then they send them out. And I believe that from 1969 now where we were, I believe that they went back to all of that, and that's why the system, they bring in that system. Because it was a cause of big controversial in cricket. It was a cause of one all. You understand? Especially with the Indians. Because of how the Indians dedicated to the game. And them Englishmen, they like out.
You know, Edric, I gotta conclude that you're the Nevis version of Donald Trump, because you said something which seemed far-fetched and it looked like you're on a roll. By the end of the night, there might be a consensus that this thing started as a result of that game in 1969 in Antigua.
Quite so.
Because you hear that, caller?
Quite so.
So you are the New Vision version of Donald Trump.
Not so.
You can take something that's in other words, you can lose and convince people that you win.
That's not who I am.
No, that's not who you are.
True.
Walk with me. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the ability that you have. That is a unique ability.
Well, I'm a forward thinker.
But however you want to describe it, I would like to let you know that I would like to have those qualities and abilities. Good evening, thank you for holding.
I was born in 1969. Robert got to send a plane for the team, and then they got a hero's welcome in Nevis. I don't know if that is correct, but I was told that.
Edric told you that? Ed, you know anything about that? That that Bradshaw, who was the premier of St. Kitts and Nevis and Anguilla at the time. Oh, but Anguilla 67. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Sent a plane to Antigua to bring you all home.
This is a game here. I didn't know that. I thought we were using Auburn.
Oh, okay. But you know a plane came?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I thought was Edric invented that too. Because you heard it since you came in. Oh, okay. All right. So I think it's some good old reminiscing. Roger, I think you wanted to. Edric, I had interrupted you.
Well, since you brought in Donald Trump, and Ed Arton worked for this billionaire on Wall Street, he might know of a political fiasco that Donald Trump has organized, orchestrated, even at the highest level of the court, the Supreme Court. And based on the ruling with the Colorado ballot printing, you can tell us some of what's going on.
I'm not into politics.
Oh, good! Well, the thing is that we are here because we cover not only
we meaning you and Roger and who?
Not only politics but economics, sociology, the whole 9 yards, with reference to local, national, regional, and international politics. So, based on where we are in the scheme of things, the last big stance that Donald Trump took is to send a message to the Supreme Court, not only thanking them, but also to say that he's got, as the former president, total immunity from the oath he took regarding the U.S. Constitution, which I disagree. But he has seemingly penetrated the Supreme Court with 6 judges who were able to convince the other 3.
No decision came on that as yet.
Sure?
No. When?
They just cited and the ruling came out yesterday. That
wasn't that. No, the ruling came out yesterday is about the Colorado case.
Colorado, yeah.
But no, that's it. Immunity is a different case.
I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is that
well, no, but doesn't make sense. If you have 50 states,
true.
I'm not a politician.
True.
You have 50 states and one pull out. You can have the other one state to call the other 49 states from having to choose a president.
Well, we understand that.
So that's what I said.
Based on the lightweight who represented Colorado, he completely, well, not completely, but partially, didn't answer the judges when they peppered question at him. He was a lightweight.
So Stanley, how that equates to Donald Trump, persuading the courts in one way or the other?
We know exactly that he's got a lock on the Republican Party, but he also
I'm speaking specifically to the courts. Not
right. Well, no, I'm diverting to the court because his last stance, public stance, is that he is telegraphing a message to the Supreme Court that he has total immunity based on the action he took while he was president then.
That's a different case.
It's a different case, quite so.
There are many rulings on you.
No, but what I'm trying to tell you is that his influence is so far and wide among Republicans, where everybody who opposed him are now lining up to support him and to endorse him, and therefore he's got 6 conservative judges on the court that overturned Roe versus Wade. And therefore, the last public stance he took, which I saw before I came here, is a message, verbal message, that he uttered to tell the 6 judges on the Supreme Court that he's got total immunity, even if the case has not been heard yet by them. But to tell them, do for me again what you did for me in the Colorado case. Did I make my point?
Yeah, how is it?
So, with Trump and Webbo attempting to compete with Trump, no.
So you don't think alike? You guys don't think alike? Just a question.
No. Because for me, I can't tell the Proud Boys to stand by just in case. Stand by. We need you with all your firepower.
But then, Mr. Stanley, you appears as if you know what message or messages he's trying to convey.
Listen, we listen to people and you can infer as to their thinking based on the utterances.
You mean that you are correct with your inference?
No, listen, Roger and Ed. Basically, you listen to a case and you could tell where the judge is going with the case based on the evidence or lack of evidence presented.
Sure.
And from that, based on the utterances, maybe on both sides, you can infer. That's the inference as to where the judge is going with the decision. And Trump now is attempting to influence the court, the Supreme Court, because he has put on 3 judges added to the 3 who were there, and is asking them by a wink and a nod and by his utterances to, hey, send me another win.
Okay, fine. So he's attempting to persuade the court one way or the other. Do you think that you'll be successful?
I can't say that.
By the evidence that was presented?
Well, no, because this case that we are talking about has not yet been heard by the Supreme Court. No, the particular, the one that he got.
It's Colorado. That's on Colorado coming off the ballot.
Right. He would be on the ballot simply because of the Supreme Court ruling of yesterday or the day before. But what he's looking for is total immunity based on his actions on
what he did January 6th.
January 6th.
Right. So
and at the same time, the one in Georgia, where he asked for 11,080 votes, as the case might be.
Well, what I'm asking,
what he's I'm not finishing it for a minute. He is looking to get everything in his favor because of the power and his base.
I understand that.
He can't win the election by his base.
You understand that?
Yeah.
He can't win the election by his base.
Okay, understand this. Ed,
yes.
It was so good to have you, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to give your final word as we close out.
Okay. This is Mr. Edmund Arton. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to the people in the news about my cricket career. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the near future again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the last word. This program repeats at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. And join Keith Scarborough on Thursday evening right here at 8 o'clock for Government at Work. A way to spend your evenings right here on the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse. This is your voice in the community. Talk that get results. You all have a wonderful evening.
The views and opinions expressed and received